Hello, 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 and good evening, everyone. Happy Sunday is September the 18th. We're here in Michigan. Just welcome everyone to the episode number 45 of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, where connections matter, bringing you interviews of Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement. So I want to welcome everyone. Happy Sunday. It is September the 18th. We are in the fall weather here in Michigan, the Detroit, Michigan area. We're starting to notice that the days are getting shorter. It's getting dark around quarter to 8 o'clock. The leaves are starting to fall and change in colors. So it's an exciting time of the year as people are back to school, the children, or maybe you're in college or you're in school as well. But I want to thank you again for joining us on this live podcast. Do me a favor, if you're watching live, I want to encourage you to like and follow and share this broadcast. We have a very special guest on our topic of women's empowerment. We have a leader in the Detroit area in the area of women's empowerment. She's going to share her story about her journey on creating a wonderful organization that empowers and impacts women. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome again to episode 45. I want to encourage you again to like, subscribe, and share this live broadcast. All right, so let me get right to it. I'm going to introduce our featured guest for this evening. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our guest. I'm going to read a little bio, and then she's going to introduce a little bit, tell a little bit about herself. So, our next guest is a Detroit native and leader in women's empowerment. She is the director of coaching at COTS, which stands for Coalition on Temporary Shelter. She leads a team of coaches who work with families in the COTS shelter, housing programs, and the community. She chose a career in social work because of the many challenges she faced in her own life. She was a teenage mother at the age of 14 and suffered the death of her child when she was 4 years old. She experienced many other life challenges and made a promise to God that if brought through, she would dedicate her life to helping other women. In 2018, she founded the Ladies League of Detroit, a social network for women in Metro Detroit that is focused on professional and personal development. It was uniquely created for the women in the middle. As of 2022, the Ladies League of Detroit has 69 members. She has received awards for her work in the community. The Spirit of Detroit in 2022, Crave Honors 2021, Women of Excellence in 2021. She holds a bachelor's in from business from Baker's College and a master's of social work from Wayne State University. She's also a graduate of the Leadership Detroit, a program for executives in Southeast Michigan, led by the Detroit Regional Chamber. She has one daughter, Imani, who is 20 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who we're talking about, we are talking about none than other the great woman empowerment leader in Detroit, LaTonia Walker. Yay! All right, before we go into your journey, if you don't mind, I always have people give us a little introduction of themselves. Tell us where you're from, who you're with, east side, west side, all that stuff you feel comfortable sharing.
Okay, so I am a D girl. So I am born and raised in Detroit, and I'm from the East Side. Very proud of it. I grew up on a street called Cadillac, um, between Mack and Goldie. So for those not familiar with the street Cadillac, it is 2 blocks from the infamous Mack and Bewick. So that's the area that I'm from. I went to King High School and I graduated from King in 1994. So I am an East Side D girl through and through.
All right, all right. I appreciate that. East side, east side, east side. So I'm from the west side, so so it's no conflict or anything. I get along with east side people pretty well. Y'all tend to be really down to earth. Now you shared a little about that um, famous street. Did you say Mac and Bewick? Is that what you say? The area you grew up in that area?
That's the area I grew up in. I grew up on a street called Cadillac, but
Cadillac.
it's two blocks from.
Mac and
Yes.
okay, that's a famous for those who are not from this area. That's a famous street, and one guy used to call it
Mhm.
Mac and Be Quick. Mac and Be Quick. He would make jokes about Mac and Be Quick. Okay, so let's get right into it. So you're a native Detroiter, and you formed this great organization. Now you work currently with Cox. Could you share briefly what's your role there, and how do you help? I think you do something with women there.
Yes. So, my role there, I am the director of coaching and engagement. So, just a little bit about what coaching is, because I know that's a new concept in the field of human services. I am a social worker. I do have my social work degree. But at CAS, we're doing something different and progressive, where instead of just traditional social work, we are doing something similar to life coaching. We call it mobility coaching. So we work with the parents at the shelter and the children as well. We also have youth coaching. But as far as my role, working with the parents, helping them to set goals, try to figure out what they want to do with their future, not just getting employment, which is important, but looking at career. And even further than that, purpose. Working on their health and well-being, physical health, mental health, spiritual, social, the relationships in their lives, financial empowerment, and so just all those wraparound areas. And so I have been there for 7 years. Actually, it'll be 8 in January, really soon. And so I was one of the original three coaches that they hired in 2015. And then in 2020, during COVID, I actually received my promotion to the director of coaching. So now I have other coaches working on my team, both mobility coaches, youth coaches who do all those same things with children. And so we also have an employment coach and we have a financial coach. And so I always like to say COTS is very progressive in this field of human services. Um, we also do more than what people think. Most people just know us from our emergency shelter, but we actually
Okay.
have housing programs in the community. And
Okay.
so, actually, several hundred housing slots. So, we work with the families in the shelter and also families in housing. So, yeah, we do a lot. I'm very proud to be there. Love it. Great organization. I have amazing leadership. And it's been a wonderful experience being able to work with people at their most vulnerable state, being
Right.
homeless with your children. You're a family shelter, you have to have children. That's, for some people, the most challenging thing they've been through. So for us to be there for them and help to lift them up instead of just putting them down while they're going through challenges is a blessing.
Yes. What a blessing, and thanks again for your service there at Cox. And I didn't realize the extensive, when I was getting prepared for this interview, I just knew about their shelter services and housing. I didn't know all the other services. And then what you do in coaching, and I like how you describe the mobility coaching. That's a concept that you just introduced me to, and that's great. It's awesome, awesome. So I want to get into and thank you for your service. And if you're those who are watching this program, we're about not just sharing information. We're about celebrating the contributions that people are giving in Detroit who are serving our community. This is a way to give them their flowers for what they're doing, because sometimes the local media may not, show recognition because unfortunately gossip and bad news gets more attention. But here on this platform, we want to celebrate positive things that's going on in our community. And so we're grateful for LaTonia Walker being here. And I wanted to give her a chance to share a little bit about her journey. In the introduction, I talked about the organization she founded in 2018, the Ladies League of Detroit. So, do you mind sharing how this all began? What's the how did this come about? What was the road to this?
Yes, yes. So I'll start off by connecting that journey to my job at COTS. So, working in human services, we're helping people with the basics. So, housing, clothes, hygiene items, finding employment, sometimes the first employment that they've had, hoping they'll go back to school, things like that. And so, although, of course, I'm very happy to do those things, I found that there was so much attention and resources being poured into just this, one population. And so, and at CAS, we work with families who are in what is called generational poverty. So it's different than just situational, meaning like if you just went through a divorce or illness, lost a job, and you hit hard times, for a brief period. But that's not what we're working with. We're working with families who have been in a cycle their entire lives. So I start off with that because you just see it's so many resources. And so on the opposite end of the spectrum, I'm very ambitious. And I have always known that I wanted to be successful and go further. And so I surrounded myself with certain people because that's a big part of success is who you surround yourself with. Going to different events, functions, being in other groups, professional networks. And so I saw that end of the spectrum, there was a different type of resources and support, which was usually, one hand helping the other, opening doors of opportunity. Sometimes they would have family support or just from their professional networks and tend to make a higher income so they can, have more disposable income so they can start a business or do these different things. So I felt like I identified a gap, which is where the concept that I made about the woman in the middle coming in, where myself and my peers, we didn't need the basic support that my clients at COTS needed, but we also weren't on the level of some of the higher level executives and professionals that I was around. And so we needed support, but support in a different way. Um, Guidance to start a business, customers if you have one, ways to know how to build your career, get a promotion at work, saving, to get a house, the strategy and form, because I always say it's the formula, to buy a house or rental properties, things like that if you wanted it. Just trying to get to a higher level because for myself and a lot of my peers, we're really like one step away from my client population and from the same areas. Um, and so we didn't necessarily have the support that some people on a higher level do because we're often what you might call first generation college, first generation professional. And so you figuring all this out. Even if you have family, like I have a great family that I come from. Um, but I wasn't necessarily able to get things professionally that I needed for my family. And that's no put down. It's just that they were just making it too. My grandfather like came from the South, running from um, things with racism like a lot of our ancestors. So, my grandparents made a way, had six children, including my mother, and did great, but they were really one step from a slave plantation. So a lot of this we're figuring out on our own. So with this gap that I identified, I wanted to find a way to support that gap, particularly for women. And so that's where the concept of the Ladies League came in for me to make a professional network, a sisterhood, and also, I'll just add this before I bounce it back to you, a professional network that's not stuffy. Because I have been in other professional networks And sometimes I didn't fully fit in because as we started off, I'm a D girl, and I always say, don't let these degrees and stuff fool you.
Right, right, right.
So I needed something with some balance where, I could be my real self. I could be proud of where I'm from. Everything is just not professional. The professional is important. I am absolutely ambitious and a career woman, but the personal being in there too, and being able to show all sides of myself. And so wanting to make that unique sisterhood for other women like me.
Awesome, 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 man. I like how you shared just your journey. It started with your work in Cox. Your your client base. You said is described as generational poverty, and they're trying to break the cycle, and you guys are providing services to help to break the cycle. And but you realize there, and I noticed that in your biography, your bio, you talked about the women in the middle, and I was going to ask you a question. What is the women in the middle? And you kind of elaborate on that, and you found that there was a gap of a population who may be one paycheck away from being in that client base, could be homeless, but they have worked themselves up to a professional level, but just kind of felt stuck. And so, with that, what was your focus in really helping to serve the women in the middle? What do you specifically focus on with the organization?
So, great question. So, we are focused on professional and personal development. So, the way that I do that for the ladies is the main thing is our monthly meetings. So, we have two meetings each month, one Saturday and one Wednesday. We actually had our Saturday meeting yesterday. And so, with those meetings, is various topics. Um, and actually has some examples of some of our topics, because I think that's part of what makes us unique too, is that we're about the whole woman, with providing that support, because a lot of professional networks only have professional topics.
Right.
So for us, just some of the things from this year: seasonal depression,
Okay.
tax time coaching,
Okay.
women's mental health,
Right.
how to be a friend. Right. So
Wow.
a lot
That'd
of
be
times people talk about friendship and wanting friends, and it can be hard to make friends. But are you a good friend? That's a big part of even attracting good friendships into your life and being able to maintain them.
Mhm.
Um, Proper undergarment fittings.
Wow.
And that's actually an example of how I have my meetings at different locations, some virtual, some in person, but the in-person meetings are at various locations until I get a space of our own, which is one of my next goals. And so, like with the proper undergarment fittings, we had it at a Black owned boutique, all
Okay.
about women's health, that's in Farmington. And so I try to have most of our meetings at minority owned businesses. So,
Okay.
including the one yesterday, our topic was entrepreneurship success, and it was at a venue on Whittier, owned by a gentleman named Reggie. And so I try to support my own as much as I can. And it's not about them being in like those two meetings examples. Neither of them are in the group. Obviously, Reggie wouldn't be the man. But the woman, Kelly, that owns all about women's health, is not. So it's not about them being a member. It's just about them being one of my own.
Okay.
So I try to have as many meetings as I can at Black owned venues so that I keep that money that I'm paying for in our own community.
Wonderful.
Another example topic, um, women of faith, sister business share, so that all of the women in the group who do have a business were able to share that so that they can network and their sisters in the group know what they're doing. You don't have to be an entrepreneur, by the way, to be in the Ladies League. I get that question often, but over half of us are.
Okay.
Also, in June this year was Men's Month. And so both meetings were focused on men. And the one meeting was called Men in Business. And we had a male panel, all entrepreneurs. Um, then we also have our infamous LLD After Dark, which is a spicy girl talk that we have every year. And I always look forward to that. It's led by one of my colleagues and also sisters in the group. Her name is Denise.
Okay.
She is affectionately known as member number one. She is the first member of the Ladies League, and she does adult novelties. And so we go to her with all our intimate needs, if you will. And so then also one of the recent meetings was called Pen Queens Speak,
Okay.
which we had Black women authors in Detroit to share. And that panel was led by a woman named Trina, who is in my group and is also my accountability partner.
Okay.
So we all have what we call accountability partners, our APs, which is a person that you would build a closer relationship with and work on your goals with and things like that. And so with her being an author, that was a way of me supporting her and also using her expertise to lead that. So,
Awesome, awesome, man! You guys covered a range of topics and doing things to educate, inspire, and to inform. So I want to get into also. You shared in your introduction how you've been a part of organizations that was a little stuffy, and I wanted to explore that because now, how would you explain the contrast with your organization? Because I wasn't sure. I'm assuming you're a nonprofit organization, but you're not a sorority. And so, how would you explain your organization's setup and design as opposed to maybe some other traditional organizations that or organizations you said are kind of stuffy that you experience?
so I'm glad you brought that up, Charles. So, the first thing I want to clear up is that I am not a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
So, I work at a nonprofit organization, which is CAS. However, the Ladies League of Detroit is my for-profit business. It is a
Okay.
LLC.
All right.
And so the women pay membership dues to be in the group.
Okay. Okay.
So one thing that I knew, being a social worker, and I've worked at other nonprofits even before COTS, I knew that I did not want to spend the rest of my career just chasing grants.
Right. Right.
So yeah, so I'll be moving to full-time entrepreneurship within the next few years and running the Ladies League full time. And so I'm betting on me.
All right.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm providing something of value and
Hmm.
people pay for it. So
Okay.
once you know your value, see, that's a
Mhm.
powerful thing. Everything changes. And
Right.
so I'm not a nonprofit. The women are paying for the services that they're receiving. And I
Okay.
have, other things with that business plan for the future of other streams of income with it. But that is the main base. Right.
Okay.
So as far as your question about us being different than other professional organizations. So one thing, we have our urban side,
All right.
right? So that's something you'll find that a lot of professionals, even if they are from a urban area of, inner city, um,
Hmm.
they might even try to hide that part about themselves, or they don't talk about it often, or it's something they're evolved from. But
Okay.
I'm proud of where I'm from. Now, are there some things of where I'm from that, are not that great that I don't partake in? Absolutely. But you could be a millionaire from, a great family, a monarchy even, and there's things that's not great. So that's the same across the board.
Right.
So I don't hide that side of myself. I'm proud of that. So and I feel like that's one of the things that makes me unique. And so that's one of the things about the group that's unique. So we're professional women, career women, ambitious family women. I'm single, but many of the ladies in the group are married, happily married. Some have children, some don't. All have families, good relationships with our families, things like that. And so we have that, but we're also, a lot of us are urban from inner city. So that's one of the things that makes it unique and that we show all those sides of ourselves.
Okay. Okay. Now, great. So you clarified it's not a nonprofit; it's a professional, for-profit organization for women for personal development, for
Yeah.
life coaching, and other things that evolve to the whole development of a woman. If you don't mind me asking, because in here in Detroit, there's a large following or participation, whether it's in college or graduate, where women of color participate in sororities. Um, how would you say your organization is different? Is this more focused? Is it social, or what will be the difference with? Does somebody have to be in a sorority to join your organization? What would be the difference?
Mhm. But it's no conflict of interest if they are. I do have several sisters, including my one of my assistants that is in a sorority. So it's no problem if they are. But I would say the main difference is it's not connected to a college. Sororities are
Oh,
usually connected to a college.
mhm.
And so it's not, and I mean, although many of us went to college, but it's not connected to
Oh, you
having
don't
to
have
go
to
to
be
college
you
or
don't have to be in college to join your organization or have a college degree or anything.
mm-mm.
Okay,
Right. No, you don't. Mm-mm.
okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, so I wanted to show some slides about your mission statement and stuff like that, and you can kind of elaborate. Is that fine?
Yes.
Okay, so let me add this on here. Okay, all right. So, can you see the slides there?
Yes.
All right, so I think that's on your I think on one of your Facebook pages. So that's the um, Women Leagues of Detroit supporting women. And so so share a little about your mission and purpose.
You were breaking up a little bit. Did you ask
Oh yeah.
something about the mission
Oh yeah, yeah.
statement?
Share a little about your mission and purpose. You went in a little bit into it, but what's your
Hmm.
overall vision and goal with the women who participate in this organization? What are you looking for them to get out of it?
Yes. So one of the main things is the professional and personal development. So working on ourselves together and working on both sides of ourselves, the professional and the personal. And so you see here also on the mission statement, it mentions mentoring. So we're not a mentoring program, but there's a mentorship component. Even us just mentoring each other in different ways. We all learn from each other. I pull from within the group as much as I can for speakers and information and knowledge. So, what you may not be strong in, your sister is strong in. So, speaking of sister, that's another focus is the sisterhood. So I often say I want the ladies league to be the change we want to see in the world. So we still hear the narrative a lot about how women don't support each other, women are all jealous, women are all catty, you can't trust the women around your man, it's just all negative. So, of course, those things do exist. I always say I'm not naive. I know that there are women like that. But all women are not like that. And we have to be very careful with our words and with the narrative that we speak, because you'll cause it to be true in your own life. So when you're saying all women are like that, that's what you're going to attract. And so there are still good women in the world, and the ladies league is an example of that. So I'm the change I want to see in the world. And so we also the power of purpose. We focus a lot on purpose, and that was actually a topic last year that I spoke on. Which, by the way, even though I'm the leader, I only speak at about 2, maybe 3 meetings a year. I have other people to lead, being the speakers, and sometimes it's women in the group, and sometimes it's external people, but we focus heavily on that as well. So it's like just that's back to that concept of the whole woman. So that's really the mission statement, a little bit more elaborative about it, that we're focused on the whole woman and doing it together.
Now, I wanted to ask, pertaining to this mission statement and the birth of this organization, what was it in your own personal life that kind of laid the seed and foundation that you said that you wanted to? You made a promise to God that you would empower other women. What were some of the things you experienced personally that led you on this journey?
Well, the biggest challenge that I faced was the death of my first daughter.
Wow.
So, that is really one of the worst things that anyone can go through, losing a child. So it already was hard enough being a teenage parent. I had my first daughter very, very young at 14. And so I was in the ninth grade. And so, already going through that. And then she passed away when she was 4.
Wow.
And so, going through that, and then right after that, I went through a bout of homelessness, where I was unstable for a couple years. I'm always very clear when I share that part of my story. I was never like on the street or that type of thing, but I was homeless, as in I didn't have anywhere to stay. It was a lot of problems at home. So I was just out here, with one person one week, the next another, in hotels, just existing on top of grief for a couple of years. And so, you know, I just knew going through that there was something more for me. And I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was something. And just telling God that if I get through this, if you get me through this, because I knew that was the only way I was going to get through it was through God. Then I wanted to use my life for purpose, His purpose, what He wanted me to do. So I didn't have all the answers at that time.
Right.
It all makes sense now. I always say nothing is wasted.
Right.
And so that's part of when you say like what led me and why I am so passionate, about
Right.
helping women. It's funny because I was actually thinking earlier. I was out and I was driving and I was thinking, and I thought about how years ago one of the things that I knew was that I wanted to help people.
Right.
When I was trying to figure out what career I wanted, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And that's such a broad general term, right? But
Right.
then I just had this moment where I realized, and that's what I'm doing. I would have never been able to say it would be being director of coaching at Cox,
Right.
being the founder of a women's group. There's no way I would have known that 20 years ago.
No way. No way.
And so that's why we have to just trust and just
Right.
keep putting one foot in front of the other and just keep trying to do the right things, trying to advance, putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And now, at the end of the day, you can put it all these fancy ways you want, but I'm helping people. And
Yes, you
so,
definitely.
yeah, I'm
You
proud of
definitely
that.
are. Yeah. So you've. I like the fact that some people can have their past can trip them up and it can be held hostage to their past. But I like the fact that you use your past, you learn from it, and you're using it to empower other people and to be passionate about helping people overcome obstacles. So that's wonderful. I appreciate you doing that. Let's get into some of the events that the organization has put on. So I have this slide now. What's the story behind you guys are? It's like a dress up event. What's going on there?
We look good, don't we?
Yeah, you guys look fabulous. Yes.
Okay, well, I just had to start with that. So this was actually just a few months ago, in May. We were at the Pontchartrain Hotel, and this was our Jewel Gala for
Okay.
our fourth year anniversary. And so, Jewel Gala was our theme. We all wore different jewel tone evening gowns. Um, but in addition to that, another one of our things was started from the bottom. Now we're here. So,
Okay.
our first meeting that we had, I had it at another shelter where I know someone in their community space because that's, all I could afford was free. So I had my first ladies league meeting at a homeless shelter, right? And
Okay.
just went and got some stuff from Costco, some snacks and stuff, and my friends was there and supporting me. And my one of my sisters in the group, who's my second assistant, Ethel, took pictures for me, and my sister Laura, who's over the leadership committee, was there setting up tables and hosting and bringing people in. We put it together with what we had, which was nothing. So now here we are 4 years later, having our event at a venue that I used to dream of being able to have something at places like that, at the Pontchartrain Hotel. And we were in the area at the top that they call the top of the punch. So started from the bottom. Now we here. Now we at the
All right.
top of the punch, right?
Oh, wow.
And
Okay, I
starting
like
off
that.
with just a few members, and now being at almost 70 members. And also, this leads to is another thing about the Ladies League. So I am expanding the Ladies League brand, franchise sister chapters. And so the first one was Baltimore, the Ladies League of Baltimore, which was founded last year in July 2021. And so some of
Congratulations.
them traveled here. So in that picture is the Ladies League of Detroit and the Ladies League of Baltimore.
All
So
right.
we
All
shut
right.
down Woodward, right? I'm sorry, Jefferson,
Jefferson.
outside of the Pontchartrain with our photo shoot. So yes, I love that picture. I'm so proud of it. It was just an amazing experience.
So you just said that you guys expanded. The brand is also in Baltimore. And that just right? Uh,
Slid that on in there. Yes, Ladies League of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Baltimore.
I think that deserves some air horns. So I want to celebrate that. Congratulations on expanding to Baltimore. Okay. Now, so this is an
Thank
annual
you.
event where the ladies get dressy and there's like a program or something like that.
Yeah, so it's different every year. And this one was the biggest, our
Okay.
fourth anniversary. So yes, we had our photo shoot, and then we had our gala where we had guests come. We sold out
Wow.
over 100 people. I think it was something like 120, 25 or something like that.
You have to
At the
be a
top of the
member.
punch.
You have to be a member to participate in the gala.
For those type of events, no, it was also guests. So
Okay.
our regular meetings is members. Well, it's also guests, as in ladies who's interested in joining the group. But when we have events such as that, the anniversary, then it's just pure guests. Like some of our partners, husbands, boyfriends, sisters, family. So any guests, they don't have to be interested in the group, just coming to celebrate with us.
All right. Now this is we went from the gala to explain what this is about. You guys are dressing in army fatigue.
Uh huh. Uh huh. We look good in that one too, don't we?
Yes. 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 It looks like somewhere on the east side though. Is that an east side location?
Yes, yes. So this was another one of our photo shoots. So we like famous for our photo shoots at this point.
Right. Okay.
So this was our camouflage, showing that we will go to war for our sister if have to, if
All right.
need be. And so, yes, so this just is an example, a visual example of what I was saying about the other side, the urban side. So,
Okay.
we're classy and, all those things, but we are also, hood. So that's what this
I
picture
like the theme though. You
is like.
said you would go to war to fight and defend for your sister, the sisterhood, in terms of making sure that everybody's well being is in place and you guys have each other's back. I like that. I like that.
Yes.
All right, now this is back to this is more like boss lady look. What explain what's going on here in this photo?
So that was outside of the Charles H. Wright Museum, African
Hmm.
American Museum. And so this was showing our professional side. So, the first one, the gala, was more our classy side. We were really dressed up. Then the camouflage was that urban side. This is our professional side. And so we
Okay.
have our blazers, which are embroidered with the Ladies League logo.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so, just showing that we are business women, ambitious. And that doesn't have anything to do with having a business per se. Some ladies just have their career, and that's fine. One
Mhm.
is not better than the other. But whether it's, a career at a company or your own business, we are professional women, and ambitious and working on our careers and, you know, um, whether we're married or not, that's the other thing. You can be single, you can be married. Either way, we go getters,
Okay.
working on ourselves professionally.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to get more specific on how the women can, if they're interested, those who are viewing, how they can sign up and participate and and what's your ideal person that will work for this organization. So we're gonna go on now. I'm gonna take a quick break, a little quick announcement, and then when we come back, we're gonna go into specifically how women can work directly with you and get more involved if someone who's watching has an interest. So we'll be right back.
Okay.
Hey everyone, this is Charles with Detroit Metro Plug Podcast. If you are finding value in today's video, I invite you to subscribe, like, and comment. We would love to hear your feedback. And don't forget to click on that notification bell so you can be notified when we have upcoming episodes of difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement. If you're interested in being a part of our Facebook networking community, I invite you to click on the link to be a part of that community. This is a place where you can network with like minded people and a chance to share about your product or service. If you're interested in working with me directly on how you can share your story with video or with podcasting, you can email me direct at DetroitMetroPlug313 at gmail.com. Thanks again, and let's get back to this interview. All right, welcome back. If you've been watching, you're just joining us. We're here with the Detroit difference maker, LaTonia Walker, CEO and founder of the Ladies League of Detroit. So we're excited about having her. She shared her journey with this organization, working with the women in the middle, the women in the middle. So I want to go into, if you don't mind, how can women work directly with you, and what's your ideal candidate for this organization?
So, ladies who are interested in being in our sisterhood, the process is they need to attend 2 meetings because we want to have the opportunity to get to know them a little bit, make sure they're a good fit, and then vice versa for them to see what we're about, feel our vibe, and make sure this is something that they really want to do. After the 2 meetings, I send them the application packet. And then once they return it to me, we have an interview with our, what we call our Queen's Court. And so that interview is virtual. And so, with that interview, and this goes to your question about what we're looking for. So, we just want to make sure the person is positive, not a negative person, not a person that is, against women. If that's your lane, that's fine. It's just this wouldn't be for you because it's all women and we support each other and spend time together and actually like each other. And so making sure that they, are in that lane of positivity, support. Also looking to help the community because even though I clarified we're not a nonprofit, we do community service though. We do 4 community service projects per year. And if they're a member, they have to commit to participate in at least one of them. Most of our sisters actually do, almost all of them because they enjoy it so much. Um, and so we're just trying to make sure it's no red flags. Also making sure that that person is just mentally and emotionally sound. Again, no put down if a person is in a certain space. This just wouldn't be for them, right? Because this is also not for my client population. So we need to make sure that they are actually a woman in the middle, that they're at a place in their lives where they're stable, can function, can commit to coming to meetings, is available, is able to afford the membership dues because they do have to pay membership dues every month. And
Okay.
so we're just looking for those things.
Okay. All right. So there is a process where they have to attend a few meetings to see if it's a good fit. And you guys do an interview. Do they have to have a reference from someone in the group, or is that not a real requirement?
Oh, no, they
No.
don't.
Okay. And so you interview got you want to make sure they're positive, they're emotionally, mentally stable, and they are pro women. They're not, so because it's a women's organization. So if they're interviewed, they go through the process now? Are they voted in, or is there a selection committee, or how does that work?
hmm So that's our Queen's Court, which is our leadership committee and five members from our membership committee. So together they make up the Queen's Court. So yes, we all vote. There's 13 of us total on the Queen's Court. The
Okay.
interview usually has 3 to 4 of us, maybe even 5, depending on who's available. But we let the full Queen's Court know, about the interview, and we all vote. And so, and we have had times that we voted no,
Okay.
because we're very protective. I mean, we talk
Right.
about very private things,
Yes.
as you saw when I shared that list of topics, not just professional things, but personal things, even about our relationships, family, health, all these things. And you don't want to be sharing those things with people who are not in the right mindset to handle it. We do also agree to confidentiality as part of the interview process and the application process, so that we keep, private information private. Of course, we talk about I mean,
Right.
like now I'm talking about the group and topics, but it's nothing personal,
Right.
about anyone. They have to be able to handle that.
Okay. And is there like a time period where people can apply, or is it ongoing, or is there like a open enrollment, or what's the process for that if they are interested in applying? Or
Mhm. Great question, because that kind of leads to the future too. So right now it It is just open, right, at any time. We have what we call an open house every quarter. We
okay,
just had one in August, and the next one will be in November, the last one for the year. We do like for new ladies, if they can, to attend an open house and then another meeting. That's their 2 meetings.
okay,
But they can join between open houses, though. So, anyway, it is open. You just need to come to your 2 meetings. However, future wise, so I have a goal, which is 250 women.
okay,
That's going to be the maximum for each city, not the other cities involved. So the Ladies League of Detroit will have 250 members. When we get to that point, Charles, then it is going to be more selective and it wouldn't just be open.
right,
Okay.
right,
So I know what's coming,
right,
and the leaders in the group know what's coming too. So
okay,
I would say that sister interested, this is the time to join while it's still more open and you can join at any time, because within the next couple of years, it won't
right.
be.
All right, ladies, you heard it. If you're watching this podcast live or you're watching the replay on YouTube, this is the time to seek your interest and attend that open house in November or the other meetings. So I want to go into if they pass the interview process, they're voted in. What is their responsibility to the organization? What are they expected to do?
Yeah, another great question. So they have to attend at least 2 meetings every 3 months. Okay. And remember, we have 2 meetings a month. So that's 6 meetings to choose from, and they only need to come to two.
Okay,
Because the women in our group, they're very busy, right? We
right.
we all booked and busy, so all of us have a lot going on. And so wanted to make that, where they can have the time. So at least 2 meetings every 3 months. Also that one community service per year
Okay,
they need to do. They have to pay their membership dues. Oh. So at the end of the day, this is still a business. So we
right, right.
can love you all we want to. You can be our sister, all of that stuff. But if you don't pay, you can't be in it, because I
So
have bills to pay.
right, right. So you have membership dues monthly. They have to they have to come to at least 2 meetings, and then there's you said one community service project a year or a quarter, or just one a year.
One a year. They're
One a year.
about every quarter, but sometimes
Okay.
it's not exactly a quarter, but they have to participate in at least one. And we also, Charles, have our monthly ladies' night out.
Okay.
So that can count as one of their meetings as well. Not
Oh,
guests,
okay.
but once they're a member.
Okay.
So guests are not invited to Ladies Night Out. So that is just members, and that is the last Saturday of every month. The
Yeah.
difference with the Ladies Night Out and the other 2 meetings is that Ladies Night Out is just fun. So we
Right.
do something different every month. There's a committee that plans that, Ethel and Jackie, and some other ladies on that committee. And so, like, this month we're going to see the Woman King. We had a whole theater
Oh,
to
okay.
ourselves.
Oh, the whole theater to
Yes,
yourself. Okay.
and that's how we do it. That's how we do it, the Ladies League. So, last month they had, hustle lessons, so it's something different every month. But the point of ladies night is that it's just fun, just something to spend time with each other, whereas the other two meetings are a topic. Okay, so it's more, structured and focused.
Yes, yes, yes. Awesome, awesome. So, do people have an option to pay their members' dues annually, or is it just a monthly, or you can do both?
They can do both. So
Okay.
it's monthly, but they can pay, however many months in advance that they want, quarterly, 6 months, a whole year, things like that. So yeah.
So, let's say
And
somebody's
they
watching. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No,
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 I'm
no. Go ahead. Go
sorry.
ahead.
Go
Finish.
ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish.
No, I don't even remember now. I want to hear your question.
So, I was going to say, so someone's watching, they're hearing the information, they're seeing the beautiful photo shoots, and they're interested. What would you say is the top four benefits to being a part of the Ladies League of Detroit? What would be the four top benefits if they're on the fence about
Oh,
inquiring?
yeah, you hit me with the one too. So I would say, for one, the community service. So many of our sisters say that a big part of why they joined was the community service. That's a benefit. So here's the thing. You can care about helping people, want to find a way to do that. But if you don't like work in, like I work in human services, a lot of times you just don't know what to do. Okay,
Right.
you could call somewhere and volunteer, but then it's like, okay, even with that, do you have anybody to get in touch with? What do you volunteer and do? Things like that. So with our community service, we plan it. So
Yeah.
everything is structured through us. And it's so nice. So example, we have done something with Big Brothers Big Sisters for 2 years in a row. This year we did a tea and etiquette lesson, with, young ladies from Big Brothers Big Sisters, and their big sister was invited, where they all received their pearls, and lace gloves, and lessons on how to be a lady, and, have their tea, and they all received, a teacup set, to take home. And last year we did a health and beauty day and talked to them about, like, being a lady, being clean, their hygiene, things in school, and, healthy. Talk to them about, like, exercise and eating healthy, taking care of their skin, different things like that. So I gave those two examples because that would be hard to do all that on your own.
Right.
But
Right.
with
Right.
us doing it together,
Yeah.
we make it happen. And the ladies in the group all volunteer. They set up everything. The decorations, the food, the gifts. So those are all ways that they're contributing in addition to coming that day and spending time with the girls. So, that's a big part of what people, benefit they receive, is
Right.
having that access to community service. A second thing is having these continuous topics to work on their self development.
Hmm.
So, we are just, it's a constant. We hitting it hard every month, whereas you might just go to a workshop or something when you can find it, if it comes across your social media or email, or if you hear about it. But with us, it's every month you getting topics that's building yourself up. Okay.
Okay.
And again, nothing they have to do but show up. So I take care of everything, me and my team, because I have an
Right.
amazing team.
Right.
So, the venue, the food, the topics, the speakers, all those things we take care of. So, that's a benefit. It's just having that continuous information, that's building themselves up.
Okay.
So you asked for four. So I would say the third thing, um, is recognition and celebration. So one of the things that I, talk about a lot, Charles, is that, sometimes people can make it bad thing, wanting attention. You'll hear like, "Oh, this person is attention seeking," or "They're hungry for attention." Do you
Right.
know if a baby doesn't get attention that they don't even develop properly,
Exactly.
they could
Exactly.
even die.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's and we also think it's like so, it's important to give kids attention, but then when you become an adult, what, you don't care about attention no more. So at 18, that stops.
Right.
That's not real life. And then also when people say, well, you're supposed to get it at home. Well, yeah, you're supposed to. Everybody doesn't.
Right. Right.
So one of the things that they get in the group is attention and recognition. So an
Mm.
example of that is we have a member of the month every month where we
Wow.
highlight one of the sisters in the group. And she gets a gift. She gets a shout out on social media, shout out at our meetings. That's
Mm.
giving that positive attention. Who doesn't want to be celebrated and appreciated? I don't know why some people make it
Right.
like it's so bad to want to be
Exactly.
appreciated, right?
Right. Right.
So that's one of the things that, yes, that they also get, just a lot of opportunities to shine. We also feature sisters in our newsletter, Charles, that we just started a few months ago.
Oh wow.
So yes, I'll send you the link and put you on the email list. So
Okay.
anyone who would like to receive our newsletter can contact me, and I know we'll get to that at the end with my contact information.
Right. Right.
And so with our newsletter, we also feature sisters in the group, all the way down to a recipe, a business highlight, a personal highlight, just different things like that. So yeah, so that's the third thing is that attention. So I would say the fourth thing is friendship.
Wow.
So now this goes to a big part of why I started the group as well, and about one of the things that example of using your strength or something you have for a business. So I am a girl's girl. I've always been like that. I don't care what, even with all the challenges I've been through in my life, that was never one of them. It's been consistent since kindergarten. So I have always made friends easy. Like I just do. I'm very bubbly, I'm very friendly. Now I have my other side too. You don't want to be on that side. But for people I like though, I'm very friendly, I'm very vulnerable, very open.
Right. Right.
I love to have people over at my house, just all of that. So I'm a very friendly, person. And so everybody isn't. And so sometimes people join too, a benefit they get is a pool of people to make new friends with.
Right.
So everybody might not make friends as easy, or they may have other friends. A lot of our sisters have other friend circles, but this gives them a new group and where you don't have to just walk up to some stranger, hello, would you like to be my friend?
Right.
But this gives a pool of people who have been vetted that they can make relationships with. Now we're already at 60, 68, 69 women. So you're not going to be friends with everybody. Okay.
Right.
But it
Right.
gives you a pool of people to develop friendships with. And so me bringing that strength that maybe some people don't have. So that's a benefit to get is some women to make friends with. I always give people the side eye when they say they don't have no friends. Some people, that's like a badge of honor.
Right.
You
Right.
see it on social media all the time. I
Right.
don't
Right.
need people. I don't trust nobody. You shouldn't need no anybody that's got a lot of friends. They say the opposite. They give us the side eye. I
Right.
don't have all them people around me. But thank God that has not been my experience. Like I
Right. Right.
have good friends, and
Right.
so who've been we've been through tests and trials together. That we have been there for each other when we were sick, lost a family member, needed a couple dollars,
Mm.
just needed that support, that listening ear, confidentiality, all those things. And
Right.
so, yeah, I don't know what's with that badge of honor of not liking
I've
women or
seen
not
that
having
too.
friends.
Yeah. Yes. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know nothing about that life. I got friends, but that's also why anything I need, I got somebody I can call.
Right. 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 Awesome. I agree with you. Anything of significant impact happens in the midst of community, and that goes with anything. community will help you, encourage you, inspire you, keep you accountable. Whether it's you know, studies have shown people who wanted to have weight goals or to get in shape, it happens more effectively when in community or a workout partner, a trainer. Professional development, the same thing happens in a community. And so I'm excited about the four things you shared, of the benefits of joining the Ladies League of Detroit: community service, self development, recognition, and friendship. And man, this is exciting. I was at the point where, man, I'm not even a lady, and I wanted to join. I was going to ask you, is there a men's league of Detroit? Is there no, seriously, is there an organization that you would say? I mean, we know we have the fraternities and the there's some. I think there used to be. I think it was Detroit Men 100 or something. I can't remember. But I don't really. I can't really. Is there? Do you know of any like a man version of what you guys are doing?
I don't, and it's
Oh, okay, brothers,
because
we
I
got to
have
get together.
that. And some men will even say you should start a men's league, or so maybe down the line because I'm focused on building my brand.
Right,
Which,
right.
by the way, Charles, the third chapter, the Ladies League of Jacksonville,
Oh, wow,
Florida, is
wow.
launching in October. So
Right, right.
we already have 6 members, and some of us will be traveling there for the launch event. But
Okay,
yeah, so I'm focused on building the Ladies League brand for women, across
right,
the
right,
country,
right, right,
eventually
right.
internationally. So I can't focus on that right now, but I
No,
do
I
have
understand.
so many men that ask me that. But
Maybe
we
we
have
got to
men
come.
in our network. Now you're gonna have to get in with the end now. I need you on this networking page. Our Ladies League of Detroit networking page is for men and women.
Oh, okay,
You
I'll
don't have
join.
to be in the group. It's over
Yeah.
like 1,500 people in the group now.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to get on that. You have to get on our newsletter, and we
Okay.
have to stay in contact because we do support men
Okay.
as much as we can.
How do I
But
how do
we
I
don't have
do I ask
a
for
L
the
chapter
request?
yet.
Do I ask for a request to be a part of your networking group on? Is that on Facebook or is that something else?
I'll send you an invite. Like, I'll send
Okay,
you an
all right, all
invite.
right. Send me the invite. Yeah, I remember, and that group is called 100 Black Men. I don't know if that's still going on today. Somebody let me know. I'm not sure. Um, I knew that they were prominent a few years ago. I'm not sure if they're still going on. But anyways, uh, I'm excited about what you got going on. How do people directly get in contact with you?
Yes. So they can email me at LaTonia at the Ladies League of Detroit.com.
Okay.
LaTonya at the Ladies League of Detroit.com. They can inbox me if we're friends on Facebook, or even if you're not, so they can inbox me. They can also visit our website, which is the Ladies League of Detroit.com. They can find information there. Our flyers every month for our meetings are there. They can also inbox me through the website. So those are some ways to get in contact.
I think you're on Instagram and Facebook, right? You have well, I know you guys are on Instagram.
So yes, we do have an Instagram, the Ladies League of Detroit. Now my second assistant, Ethel, manages that. So, but they can inbox and she'll get it to me.
Okay.
And we are on Facebook, the Ladies League of Detroit networking page is what it's called
Networking.
there. That's open to the public.
All
And
right. So
my sister Denise manages
okay,
that.
so they can get in touch with you directly by email. Share your email one more time.
LaTanya at the Ladies League of Detroit.com.
Okay, Latanya at the Lady League of Detroit.com. So everybody has your email. They're on Facebook, the Ladies League of Detroit Network. They're on Instagram. So you have no excuse. They have a website. If you're interested, you want to reach out to them and be a part of this great organization. As we wrap up, do you have any announcements that you want to share or words of encouragement? Either or both. Any announcements?
Mm-hmm. So definitely words of encouragement, I would say, is like whatever your dream is, don't give up. So this was a dream of mine. Being a social worker was a dream of mine. Being a career woman, coming from, the story I shared earlier, being a teenage mom, being from a certain area in the city, this didn't have to be my outcome. I saw, a lot of not so good things, and even still to this day. And so, but I knew I wanted something more for myself. And so, God is my foundation. And so I'm a Christian, and so that's my foundation. And then the other practical things I have learned along the way, my education, experience, networking, those things built on that. But whatever it is for you, whatever that dream is, that goal, like, don't give up despite the challenges. As a matter of fact, if you work it right, the challenges will end up working for you. Right. So it'll end up being a stair step. It can be part of your story and usually a part of your purpose. Right. So just not giving up on your dreams, staying focused. You get down, knocked down 99 times, get up 100. You only got to get that one time to make it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. You have any upcoming events you want to share before we wrap things up?
Yes. So our next meeting, the Ladies League, is Wednesday, the 28th. And so our topic is making the leap to full-time entrepreneurship. And that's a virtual meeting. So anyone interested in that meeting, they can email me, they can find it on the website and register. So that's an upcoming thing. We'll have our next open house in November. I can't remember the date right offhand. It might be the 19th. But stay on the lookout for that open house for new ladies also that's interested. And also just knowing that the Ladies League of Jacksonville is launching next month. So just sharing that, that's an event that we're proud of. So we'll have three, chapters. And my plan is to keep building every year, adding another state. And ultimately probably will be several states a year once I'm full time. But right now I'm still working, adding one state a year.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. I want to thank you again for, I know you're a busy lady. I want to thank you again for being on this broadcast and just the opportunity to share your story. And I wish you much success, best wishes on your expansion. I know you're going to reach that 250 women soon in Detroit and expand into other cities. And I just want to commend you for being a difference maker in Detroit and doing the work that you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. And thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, everybody, we'll have in our playback on YouTube in our description her email and the website that you can click on, and the link in the description below. That'll be available in the playback if you're still interested. For those who may watch it later on our YouTube channel, so we're here about being a platform that platform other platforms. We're here to serve, to give people their flowers who are doing things in the community. And we just thank our guests, LaTonia Walker. Thanks again for watching this podcast. Everybody have a good evening. That's going to wrap things up for tonight.